Hello and welcome back to Fire and Water Astrology. If this is your first video watching with us, welcome. And if you've seen any of the other ones, thank you for watching the other ones. Now today I'm going to be doing Saturn in the second house. Saturn in the first house is up and some of the moon signs are already up. Okay, so Saturn in the second house. So I'm assuming if you're looking at this, then you already know where your Saturn is or know a little bit about Saturn, but Saturn is a very strict planet. It's a planet of restriction, and wherever Saturn falls in your chart, you are going to struggle. And I know it sounds like really depressing. I mean, if you look at it as only the struggle, it does seem depressing, but there's always a really, really, really great reward if you learn to overcome that struggle. So I think that Saturn is actually a really great planet because it forces you to grow. So, okay, let's get into the second house specifically with Saturn. So if you have Saturn in the second house, you are going to struggle with your material possessions, your financial possessions, anything that you personally own or take care of. And when I say struggle, it's okay. Well, the struggle is more of a struggle within yourself because here's the thing: you desire all of these things to be stable. These things, whether it's your material possession or your financial possessions, you have them almost as an extension of yourself if you have Saturn in the second house. So it's very difficult for you to let go of that, all of those material belongings, and it's also very difficult for you to let go of the mindset, which is to accumulate. You have this mindset where you want to accumulate, you want to build, you probably work really, really hard for what you have. But the motive behind it is also that you can have security. Now, sorry. Now, hold on, I'm going to get up my notes here. Okay. Okay, so you work very, very hard for what you have, and there's no doubt about that. You're constantly focused on building, saving, because that's where you find your stability. However, because you do that, you probably find it really, really difficult to share. And I'm not just talking like, oh yeah, like I gave this, like to my friend one time. No, like literally sharing on a daily basis with your friends, with your family, just in general. Having somebody borrow something from you may give you anxiety. You might not like you probably don't like when somebody comes in your room and touches your stuff, or maybe it just moves one of your things. Because for you, your possessions, they almost give you comfort in a way because they're tangible and you know what they are and what they can bring for you. Now, the challenge with Saturn in the second house is that you have a difficult time sharing and you have a difficult time of letting go of all these material possessions. And you're not wrong for being hesitant to do so, because somebody with Saturn in the second house will often find it that the more they share, the more they lend, they never seem to get their possessions back, or they seem to lose their money if they lend it. It never gets repaid back. Or maybe they just have a history in the past where maybe they grew up in a home that didn't have such stable finances, or they all didn't always have everything together. So they accumulate and put an attachment to these things. It's almost emotional in a way. So this isn't the only way that Saturn in the second house can present itself with material possessions. While there's this one concept that you're completely frugal and you wouldn't let go of things and you find it very difficult to share and all of that, on the complete opposite hand, we can also find that somebody with Saturn in the second house might be extremely frivolous with their money and possessions. Maybe they, instead of being extremely frugal, watching every single penny, coupon clipping, all of that, you're just going out blowing every single paycheck you make and not saving any of it. So somebody who is Saturn in the second house needs to learn about balance. Because the reason why you tend to lose what you earn or lose these possessions that are so close to you or have them taken from you is because you're so focused on not losing them or giving them up or sharing. You're so focused on what would happen if you didn't have X amount of dollars in your bank account or if you didn't have X, Y, and Z in your house, that the more you think about those things being lost or being taken from you, the more you're putting this energy out into the world that they're going to be taken from you. If you stress about a particular situation, it's more likely that it's going to happen than if you go about the mindset that I'm comfortable, I'm complacent, and I am okay with what happens to me. So, somebody with Saturn in the second house, my advice to you is learn to share, learn to be generous, learn to put less of a focus on accumulating for a security purpose and put more focus on just doing the hard work to get the job done. Because when you have your Saturn in the second house, which is the house traditionally ruled by Taurus, you are a hard worker and you will do hard work to obtain these material possessions. So rather than focus on the possessions that you're getting out of it and the financial benefits you're getting out of it, focus on the actual job itself. Focus on, I know I just said generosity. And the reason why generosity is important for you, Saturn in the second house person, is because the more you give, the more you're going to receive. Now, it's not just about receiving material possessions, whatever that may be for you, whatever you're interested in, or adding to your collection. It's about, yes, you will receive those things if you give. Don't get me wrong. But it's about the connections you'll make. When you are more generous with the world and you're more open to sharing and being kind with what you have, using what you have to benefit others, you will attract people to you, people who are attracted to your positivity, people who are attracted to your generosity and the self-worth that you have, rather than the physical possessions of what you have. And when you attract these people to you, Saturn in the second house person, it may seem like, oh yeah, I don't really care about like developing relationships with people. But once they come into your life and once you express generosity towards these people and you develop relationships with these people, you will come to realize that what Saturn wants you to do is let go of all of these, attaching the security to these physical things, and find a security in building relationships with other people. So come away from the tangible and focus on the intangible. And this is going to be difficult for you, I understand. I mean, maybe if your Saturn is trining Jupiter or conjunct Jupiter, you'll have a much easier time with this. But I know this will be a difficult task for you from when you're young until Saturn lets up off of you approximately 30 years later. Now, if you do practice these acts of generosity and these acts of sharing and kindness, and you don't do favors for people for the material gain rather than just doing it out of the kindness of your own heart, you will find that by time Saturn lets up off of you, that you don't hold that same attachment that you once did to material possessions, material objects. You will find it easier to go to the grocery store and spend $100 on your groceries and not be kicking yourself in the butt because you feel like you wasted $100. You're very frugal, and that could be a great characteristic if you're frugal for a good reason. You save that money to do something good with it. But don't just save it and be frugal to be a hoarder. Don't just put it away because you're scared of what might happen. Let go of those worries and send them away. Because when you worry, bad things happen. When you live in this state of being comfortable and complacent with what you have and what you earn and who you are, bad things won't come to you because you're not sending negative energy out into the world. You're sending positive energy out into the world. So if you have Saturn in the second house, practice being generous, practice being kind. And you're not just doing it, these acts of generosity, for the other person, you're doing it for yourself. Because believe it or not, when you practice generosity and kindness and sharing to help somebody else, you end up making yourself feel 10 times better and 10 times more fulfilled. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more. Thank you, Saturn in the second house.